Hello, everyone, and my name is Victoria, and my surname is really complex to pronounce in English, so no worries. I'm working as organizational developer, and as many of you, I'm helping organizations to be set for success. And I moved to Sweden 4 years ago, and 1 year later, in my home country, started war. And war is feels like a huge transformation, right? It transforms you on personal level and on collective level as well. So it transforms how the business is acting in Ukraine today. And it was not just like another adaptation. It was survival need. And how often do we think that business always works in survival mode, actually? Because it's really important for us as a business, yeah, to gain this impact and customer support. So change is not necessary for business in case we don't want to survive. And having the war in my home country is really forced me to rethink what impact I want to deliver and what future generation I want to build. So I really feel my role to impact how we build in organizations and how we help business to be agile, not just single teams. Because the reality we are today is really complex. And for me personally, it feels that world became more fragile place than it used to be like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And yeah, I believe we can change it, but only if we stay aligned. And once I've been sucked into this trap of local agility. So I've been hired as Scrum Master to fix Agile for one team. And when I joined, they were doing Agile actually. So they had 2 big sprints and they had all Scrum events and they had their Jira really well implemented. And they estimated with story points as well. So it was good Agile team and they could move fast as a team. But organizational impact was different. If we took the different perspective on how they were setting in the organization, they were really fast as a product team. But in reality, they've been waiting and waiting, and they weren't successful as a business together. And this was smaller company. It wasn't enterprise size company. It was really good mid-size company. But if we take a look on this picture from enterprise perspective, it's gonna be even more and more expensive picture. So we want to solve it. Because the truth is that C-level doesn't really care on how agile our teams are, and they don't care about sprint velocity. And investors don't invest in faster and more beautiful ceremonies. And customers, they simply don't buy Agile unless you sell Agile as a service, but it's a different story. They pay for value, how and when they want to achieve it, and the way they want to achieve it. So we want to shift to business agility instead and be aligned on income and outcomes that we want to achieve. And we want to build the muscle of having the whole organization to be able to change, learn, respond to changes, and adapt and thrive in this change also. And there is no silver bullet for it, but there are some helpful ideas that can help to impact that. And first, as org developer, I would start with a structure. And while we want to build our business agile and we want to build our business as usual when we have teams and we have clear purpose of teams, and we want to have team of teams called department or units or tribes, depending on models that you want to implement, but we want to have clear purpose because clear structure brings clarity to the whole organization. But what we don't want to implement with that is build the silos between those teams. And how we can achieve that? By actually enabling the network of teams. And in these companies that I've been working on, they were in this trap of local agility. And the idea that I presented to the leadership is basically to remove all boundaries that we have through hackathon. And my idea was just to let go all control and allow teams to be aligned around value. So they pitch ideas and they could organize regarding ideas that they wanted to implement and transform the business without leadership guidance, but with their support, right? And in 1 week, they reduced CO print from their organization influence by 40%. So the business impact was huge. And they continue doing. Another good idea is how we perceive our strategy tree and the level where we want to stay agile. And from my perspective, the change should be our new normal. And the way we can implement it through company level initiatives. When we can stay aligned around the same initiatives with clear understanding of priority rank. And this is the level when we want business and teams work closely together, because leadership is there not to micromanage teams, but set the context. Because when we have cross-functional teams who have different backgrounds and different perspectives, working together, they need to have the same context, and it needs to be maintained, and it needs to be updated. So we need leadership there. An ideal scenario when we have aligned initiatives is that we can iterate also together. So we have smaller cycle time, we have maybe smaller goals, but we have synchronized effort. And I know it's not easy to achieve, right, when we're big as organizations. But the reward is that we stop optimizing in silos and we start learning at scale. From our first iteration, we have more context and we have more alignment. So this is a moment when agility becomes not just team practice and something for product teams to implement, but it became the strategic advantage for business. And I would agree that there is value in team agility. It's an important first step to take for many of organizations, and we really can benefit from it. But we value business agility more because it helps us to deliver value across the entire value chain. It helps us to optimize for customer, for their outcomes. And it helps us to enable the flow through the whole organization and drive organizational change. So if I can sum up, it would be that, business agility is really something that helps us as a business to thrive when it's a good times, but also it helps us to survive when the time is bad. Thank you.